Imagine finding a hidden letter in an old library book, a letter that reveals a secret capable of changing your life forever. That's exactly what happened to Yumi, a young Korean student who, while searching for a book for her college assignment, came across a yellowed and time-worn piece of paper. Unaware of the impact that this simple discovery would have on her life, she decided to open the letter. What she read was so astonishing that it made her question everything she thought she knew about her own family. Can destiny really place such deep secrets in our hands, or are we simply at the mercy of coincidences that forever transform our lives? Development. Yumi, a dedicated and reserved student, never imagined that a simple visit to the library would change the course of her story. On that cold afternoon, as she flipped through old books in search of references for an academic paper, one volume caught her eye. It was a thick book with a worn leather cover and a title almost faded by time. Curious, Yumi opened it, and to her surprise, an envelope fell from between the pages. With trembling fingers, she picked it up and saw that it read, "To whoever finds this, my final request." Intrigued, Yumi looked around the library, as if expecting to find the letter's owner. But no one seemed to notice her discovery. Feeling her heart beat faster, she carefully opened the envelope. Inside, she found an old sheet of paper, with smudged ink and delicate, almost poetic handwriting. The letter said, "If you have found this letter, please do not ignore it. This story needs to be told." Years ago, in this very library, two souls met for the first time. Their destinies became intertwined in an intense and painful way, and this letter is the only proof that their love ever existed. They swore to keep the secret until death, but now I feel time is running out. If you can, find out what happened to them. Don't let this story disappear. The impact of those words made Yumi reflect. Who were these people? What deep secret could be hidden here? Without realizing it, she felt an irresistible urge to unravel the mystery. However, as she begins her investigation, family secrets start to surface, making her question what she truly knows about her own life and family history. We are not always able to choose the secrets we uncover. Sometimes, destiny leads us to confront stories that challenge everything we believe. If you're curious to find out how Yumi will handle this discovery and what family secrets she will uncover, keep following this thrilling story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next videos. After the initial impact of discovering the letter, Yumi decides to investigate the mystery she found. But the more she searches for answers, the more questions arise. Who were the souls that met in the library? What deep secret was hidden in that story? And above all, why did she feel that it was somehow connected to her? Is it really possible that events from the past can shape our present? Or are we merely following false clues that mislead us? Determined to uncover the truth, Yumi begins researching the history of the library. She looks through old records and speaks with the librarian, Mr. Jiang, an elderly man who has worked there for decades. He tells her that the library used to be a meeting hall in the 1950s, a place where young couples secretly met to exchange letters and promises of eternal love. Yumi is intrigued by this information. If the letter was that old, could it be related to someone who used to frequent the hall at that time? While searching through the library's records, she finds a list of past visitors. Among the names, two stand out: Kim Jisoo and Park Miho, mentioned several times over consecutive years. Yumi's curiosity grows even more when she realizes that the name Kim Jisoo also appears in documents connected to her own family. How could that be possible? Could the lost romance somehow be tied to her own lineage? The idea is unsettling, but she can't stop digging. She decides to look for more information at her grandmother's house, who had previously told her stories of when the library was a lively and vibrant place. Sometimes, when we investigate the past, we uncover connections that make us question who we truly are. If you're intrigued by how this story unfolds, stay with me until the end and discover the twist in this emotional journey. At her grandmother's house, Yumi finds an old memory box, filled with letters and vintage photographs. Among the documents, a portrait of a young couple catches her attention. When she turns the photo over, a surprise. The names Kim Jisoo and Park Miho are handwritten on the back, along with the date 1952. Could these be the mysterious lovers? And why was the photo kept at her grandmother's house? How many family secrets might be hidden across generations without us ever noticing? Yumi confronts her grandmother, Mrs. Yoonji, showing her the photo and asking about the names. Initially hesitant, her grandmother averts her gaze and asks for some time to think. Yumi respects her request but cannot hide her frustration. The next morning, while preparing breakfast, Yoonji finally decides to tell the truth. She begins by revealing that Kim Jisoo was her older brother and that Park Miho was his great love. However, their romance was tragically cut short when Jisoo's family discovered that Miho came from a rival family. Jisoo's parents did everything they could to separate the two, and when they realized he wouldn't give up, they sent him to a distant city. Before leaving, Jisoo and Miho promised to meet again at the library, where they had always exchanged hidden letters. But Jisoo never returned, and Miho, after waiting in vain for months, disappeared. For decades, Yoonji never knew what had really happened, until she found a hidden letter in the basement years later, though she never had the courage to read it. Upon hearing the story, Yumi feels a mix of sadness and determination. She asks for permission to look for the letter and, after hours of rummaging through dusty boxes, she finally finds it. Carefully opening the envelope, she reads Jisoo's farewell words, saying he never stopped loving Miho and that, if someone had found the letter, it meant destiny wanted their story to be known. True love can endure time and distance, but circumstances don't always allow it to be fulfilled. What would you do if you discovered such a heartbreaking family secret? Share your thoughts in the comments. After reading Jisoo's letter, Yumi feels she's on the verge of discovering something even deeper. Emotion overwhelms her as she notices a small note on the back of the letter, almost erased by time. The truth is in the last letter I wrote to Miho. If someone finds it, they will know the whole story. But how could she find a letter lost for decades? What if someone had already taken it? Despair begins to take over as Yumi realizes she may never uncover the ending of this forbidden love story. Do secrets truly wish to be found, or are they sometimes meant to remain hidden forever? Yumi feels she can't stop now. Determined, she decides to investigate the old hall in the library where, according to her grandmother, the secret meetings once took place. On her way there, she feels a growing sense of unease. Could Miho have written a final letter? And if so, why was it never found? Upon arriving at the library, she discovers the hall has been closed for years and turned into a storage room for old items. Speaking once more with Mr. Jang, she learns that during the last renovation, many documents and objects were transferred to a small local museum that preserves the town's history. Without wasting a moment, Yumi rushes to the museum. At the museum, while searching through the archives, an employee shows her a box labeled Library Memories, filled with old notes, donated books, and forgotten objects. Yumi sifts through every piece of paper, but nothing seems to relate to Miho and Jisoo. Just as she's about to give up, a red-covered notebook falls to the floor. Upon opening it, she finds a series of notes about the library's history, written by Miho himself. Yumi's heart races as she reads the last page. If someone finds this notebook, they'll know I waited until the very last day. My heart belongs to Jisoo, even if the entire world tries to tear us apart. One day, when the pain becomes unbearable, I'll return to this hall, where we promised never to forget each other. With tears in her eyes, Yumi realizes that the love between Jisoo and Miho was even stronger than she imagined. But a sentence at the bottom leaves her stunned. If you ever want to know the truth, look for the note in the place where hope blooms. Confused, Yumi tries to decipher the message. She remembers that the only blooming area in the library is the back garden, where cherry blossoms bloom in spring. In the garden, as she walks among the flowers, Yumi finds an old wooden bench. Wedged between its worn boards, a small envelope appears. With trembling hands, she opens it and finds Miho's final letter. Jisoo, I waited until there was no hope left. If someone finds this letter someday, know that my heart was torn apart the day they took you away. But I never stopped waiting. Even if time betrays us, our love will live on as long as someone remembers. Sometimes, true love defies time and even history itself, and even the most painful secrets deserve to be revealed, so hearts may finally find peace. With Miho's final letter in her hands, Yumi felt her heart tighten. The words, written decades ago, carried a pain that transcended time, revealing a love that had never died. But why had her grandmother never mentioned this story? And why had Miho never found Jisoo? As tears streamed down her face, Yumi realized there was still one missing piece to complete the puzzle. Could a love so intense survive even after so many tragedies and separations? Shaken, Yumi decides to return home and confront her grandmother once more. This time, Dona Yunji seems to be waiting for her, as if she knew the moment had come. When Yumi shows her the letter, Yunji's eyes fill with tears, and she grips her granddaughter's hand tightly. With a trembling voice, Yunji finally reveals the truth. Jisoo didn't just move to another city. He was taken away by force by his own family, who considered him a traitor for falling in love with someone from a rival family. In the new city, Jisoo was kept under constant watch, and Miho never received the letters he wrote. One of Jisoo's brothers, fearing he might try to escape, intercepted all correspondence. For years, Jisoo tried to run away, but he never succeeded. One night, during an escape attempt, he suffered a fatal accident by falling from a bridge. The news devastated Miho, who never learned the truth. Heartbroken, he spent the rest of his days wandering the library, waiting for a reunion that would never come. In shock, Yumi asks why her grandmother had never told her this before. Yunji explains that she had been forbidden by the family to speak of it and believed that, in some way, keeping the secret preserved her brother's memory. However, upon seeing how deeply the story affected Yumi, she realized it might be time to let the past go. Yumi feels a mixture of sadness and gratitude. Knowing the truth brings relief, but also deep sorrow for Miho, who lived out his final days in solitude, never knowing what truly happened to his great love. Determined to honor their story, Yumi proposes something that surprises her grandmother, holding a small ceremony in the old library hall, so that, symbolically, Jisoo and Miho could finally be together. Touched, Dona Yunji agrees, and together they plan the event. On the day of the ceremony, friends and neighbors gather to hear the story that had remained silent for so many years. Yumi reads the letters aloud, and the words move everyone. The hall, once a place of secret meetings and whispered promises of love, is now a place of farewell and reconciliation. During the ceremony, one of the attendees, an elderly man who had worked at the library for decades, approaches and reveals something unexpected. He had been a friend of Miho and knew that, in his final days, Miho had written one last letter. The man hands Yumi a sealed envelope and explains that Miho had asked him to give it to someone who, one day, would seek to know the whole truth. With trembling hands, Yumi opens the letter. Miho's words are deeply moving. Even if fate kept us apart, my heart always belonged to Jisoo. If someone reads these words, I ask that you preserve the memory of our love. Let the truth be known, and may love never be forgotten. As she finishes reading, Yumi realizes she has finally fulfilled her purpose, to restore the dignity of a love story that was cut short and give voice to a love that never had the chance to fully bloom. Holding her granddaughter's hand, Dona Yunji feels that the pain has finally found a place to rest. Sometimes, the most beautiful stories don't have happy endings, but that doesn't make them any less true or less important. To love is also to preserve the memory of those who loved deeply, even when the circumstances were cruel. Have you ever uncovered a secret that changed how you see the past? Share your experience in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow our touching stories and be inspired by tales that speak to the heart.